Conversations about mental health have become a bit of a crutch for me. It's like an internalized form of virtue signaling, like I might be able to trick myself into good mental health by verbalizing the idea that I'm researching and sharing best practice. In reality, this couldn't be further from the truth. Most days I fear that if you do a cheeky Bing search for the phrase sharp decline, you might somehow find my Tinder bio. I rarely eat or sleep in healthy quantities, and therapy is a spooky, unknown frontier. But I'm not convinced my situation is unique. I feel like half the world is kept up at night by the dull luminosity of their phone screens, the memories of mistakes long past, or just the need to spend a few more minutes having fun before unchained capitalism takes it away from you. The world is ill. It always has been. People are interested in solutions though. That's the whole appeal of watching House MD, just watching people trying to implement different treatments until one seems to fit the bill. The goal of good mental health is often so far abstracted from the word cure. Things like depression, anxiety, eating disorders, and other maladaptive habitual behaviors rarely get fixed. There isn't like an off switch to this, it's just people coping. Coping is a word that works very hard. It encompasses a near-endless description of metaphorical and literal crutches, treatments, therapeutic practices, and life-changing actions ranging from things as extreme to "I've stopped speaking to mum" all the way down to "I've changed the bedsheets." If you're coping, then you're doing okay. And I would like to discuss one little thing that helps me cope. Ladies and gentlemen, I am fucking massive. Oh boy, look at that tall boy. Jesus Christ. My feet are fucking huge. It is, it's 30 degrees in my room right now. The thermometer says it's 27.6 degrees, so I'm just not going to apologize for being sweaty. So my shoe size has been 14 since about age 17. I've been over 6 foot since I was prepubescent. It's ridiculous. In secondary school, my shoes were so big that girls used to take their own shoes and then slip them inside my shoes and then put their feet in their own shoes which were in my shoes and then walk about wearing 2 pairs of shoes at the same time. It's comical. The first thing I do when I enter a shoe store is like I put on my big boy pants, I adopt like an alpha pose, and I strut to the front desk and just go, what's the biggest size shoes you sell? All the time. It's 13 or 12 or 11. Nowhere really stocks for me. They can sometimes order in shoes that are my size, but the vast majority of their range will be put in like normal people sizes. And I am just not their market share. The Converse outlet store specifically had 1 size 17 and about 4 size 13s, but 0 size 14s, just nothing for me. I am well and truly a lost cause in most places. I've got like the Pixar mom dump truck ass of feet. And that being said, they are entirely appropriate for my frame. With my afro comb to like the full extension, I'd be 2 meters tall, and even if I was bald, I'd still be 6'4". The legs be long, the bod be wide, and like, whether it's sound or just floor space, I take up a lot of room. My body is like an archetype, I guess. It's kind of a blessing to be this size in some capacities, and while I do think I'd have a natural propensity for things like basketball or volleyball, I'm just not an athlete. But something that I do find that I'm relatively above average at somehow, is walking. There's an interesting concept in Japanese culture called Shinrin-Yoku. It's the practice of bathing oneself in nature, surrounding yourself with the trees and plains that the wrath of human expansion has so generously decided to leave behind, and I can't really think of a more appropriate talking point. Lockdown messed with people. Businesses failed, relationships strained, and the world did what it could to cope. Both physical and mental health went on the decline for many, and the coping mechanisms and healthy habits people usually undertook were limited. But something that many started doing more and more was walking. The single easiest form of meditation in my eyes. The act of putting one foot in front of another as fast or as far as you wanted. And for a while, I did too. Nottingham, my current city of residence, has sprawling canalways and dotted forests all within a reasonable distance from where I live. This has been a genuine blessing, and the mental health benefits of both fresh air and mild exercise, it can't be understated. A set of 20 studies involving over 2,000 people in mid-2020 concluded that the practice of Shinrin-Yoku did yield effective results for combating anxiety. The study is imperfect, it even outlines where there's room for further research, but to be honest, I feel like it's fairly easy to predict where the results would lie. We already have a detailed understanding about what exercise and sunlight does for us chemically. This specific Japanese concept just has more of a focus on nature and mindfulness. And funnily enough, there is a Japanese company that's had its fingers in nature and promotes good, healthy lifestyle habits, like walking. What was this video called again? Yomiuri Land is an amusement park in Inagi, Tokyo, complete with swimming pools, roller coasters, and botanical gardens. The Pokemon Company just so happens to have purchased some land there in order to make Pokemon Wonder, a nature park where families can take little adventures to find life-size Pokemon replicas scattered throughout the park, and they're all made from natural materials. I feel like once upon a time companies were their products. Coca-Cola was a drink as literally as Pokemon was a game. But as the reach of what companies can do becomes ever more expansive, some put themselves forward as monoliths of branding and lifestyle. A really recent example would be Fortnite using its digital space to commemorate Martin Luther King Jr. Pokemon's most famous and obvious push in this direction was with Pokemon Go. Their games have always loosely held a theme of respecting nature, and they even tried to get gamers to step outside back when they packaged like a Pokemon pedometer, the Pokewalker, with every copy of Heart Gold and Soul Silver. And moving into the here and now, Pokemon is helping you brush your teeth, get enough sleep, and practice Shinrin-Yoku. And while part of me is cynical, boy, do I need more sleep and exercise. Yomiuri Land is a theme park first and foremost, but I am here for what Pokemon is wanting to do. When companies have spare revenue that they plug into experiments, the results are worth watching. So whenever this real-life Pokemon park opens up, I will be there on YouTube, because like I can't afford to go to Japan. I think people should make more room to find enrichment in the little things. And maybe some time with nature could do that for some. The Pokemon Wonder Park will be out of reach for most though, so instead, I invite you to ask yourself a question. Do you know your city? My past year of off and on walking has revealed to me some of the natural beauty of Nottingham. Roadways that look like other countries, scary dark forests, and hillsides to just scream your insecurities off the top of. Pick a direction, go get lost, and find your way back. Peace. What is good, gamers? It's your boy, Ragnarob. I am here with just a very quick channel update. I've actually moved all of my editing over from Camtasia 2019 to Adobe Premiere Pro. This is a big financial investment and it's very scary. The software's hard. I do not know what I'm doing. Editing's going to be slow for a while, so for those of you who have chosen to stick around to still continue to watch what I produce, I thank you so much, and an especially big thank you to my patrons on Patreon. I'm now going to look at my phone screen and read off their names. Yubi, Salty EXP, Red Clouds, Jaromir Kirchhoff, and Quote Cannon. Thank you for your continued support. I will be producing more stuff in the future. In the meantime, thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day.